Ever since I was a child, I was always drawn to expressive characters I saw in movies, anime, and manga. Once I got into art, the artists that I felt the most fascinated by were always the ones that were able to bring characters to life through their thoughtful approach to character expression. How do you draw expressions that feel genuine and nuanced? How do you come up with expressions? How do you imbue personality into expressions? I'm going to talk about my approach to these questions in this video. This is part one of a series. This first video is going to be more theoretical, and the next set of videos will be more technical and getting into the execution of these theories. So basically, if you are able to draw a stick figure, I think you will be able to apply these concepts that I talk about today. I was inspired to make this video because of the frankly diabolical response to my last video about character interactions. Given how popular Bob and Mark are, it appears that they will need to become recurring characters on this channel. Will they kiss? Will they kiss? I'm not gonna answer that, so you're gonna have to watch this entire video. And just so you know, I am an absolute connoisseur of slow burn, so that might just answer your question. The concept for chapter 1 is acting is reacting. One of you commented on my previous video, lesson learned from the video, action equals reaction. And I didn't say this in the video, but you picked up on it, and that is extremely true. So let's start with a very basic example, right? Here is Bob. Bob currently has no expression. He has no emotion because nothing's happening, right? I mean, how often are you just zoning the hell out? No thoughts in your head, nothing happening around you. Why in the world would there be an expression on your face, right? Something has to trigger the expression or the emotion. Let's say I say to Bob, hey Bob, let's go watch Deadpool and Wolverine. And Bob happens to be a really big Deadpool fan. This would cause Bob to be happy, right? But then we get to the movie theater and there happens to be no popcorn. Uh-oh, no popcorn for Bob on his special day. Now, is Bob gonna be a Karen and get all up in management and angry, or will he just be sad and accept that there is no popcorn? Oh well, we come out of the movie and he loved it. He is super inspired and happy and excited. And here we have a basic view of how expressions and emotions should occur within a character, within a normal human, because let's be honest, if you saw a guy who is laughing and smiling and then suddenly sad and crying and then suddenly so elated and excited, and there was absolutely no trigger, nothing happening to make him that way, you would be calling the police and sending that guy to the psych ward because that's crazy, insane behavior. So for a normal person, for a normal character, things need to happen, activations need to happen for emotions. Let's go watch a movie. Uh-oh, there's no popcorn. Oh, the movie was great. These are things that we can have reactions to. So this first fundamental chapter is kind of for like the person who might have trouble, like how to think about ideas for expressions in the first place. An exercise I might recommend would be like, if you have an OC or a fan art that you want to draw of a specific character, maybe just like go through their day, right? When they wake up, how do they react to waking up? Are they so happy about waking up, or are they angry that they're alive? Okay, they got up. Great. They see themselves in the mirror. Are they like, oh my God, I'm so hot? Or are they like, God, I'm gross right now? Each of those will definitely cause a different expression to happen. And as you go through a character's day like this, hopefully give you a lot of ideas for like what kind of expressions you can expect this character to have that are hopefully a little bit more nuanced than just like, oh, happy, sad, angry, Chapter 2 is called Expressions versus Posing. In this chapter, I just wanted to talk about how I frame drawing characters in general in my mind. Basically, I am always aware of my existence in the scene as the artist slash photographer or director and my relationship to that character and what kind of project we're like working on together. So, for example, the thing that made me think about this is that I don't think expressions are necessary in every single instance of character drawing. Let's just say this is Mark. Mark is kind of like less expressive than Bob. He is quieter, he is a little bit more reserved. So if I was working with Mark, let's just say we're doing like a winter photo shoot. So in my mind, I don't think like, oh, I am drawing my OC Mark in a comfy winter outfit. I think we're doing a photo shoot. Me and Mark, where are we? Are we outside? Are the leaves falling among us? Sorry. Is the wind blowing the scarf back? Did I happen to click the shutter at the perfect moment where, you know, his coat is blowing back? Everything is beautiful. Maybe his expression is kind of neutral, but that's okay because this is a photo shoot for his cool outfit. This is what I would consider like a posing photo. The character is not expressive, but that is because we're doing a photo shoot about his outfit and not his expression. If I wanted to capture a genuine expression from Mark in this photo shoot, I would think about like, okay, what if we're doing the photo shoot and then Mark's friend Bob appears in the background behind the camera and is caught doing some silly shit. Maybe he starts eating leaves. And then because Mark sees this during the photo shoot, he has a genuine reaction to that. But we're still having a photo shoot. It's just that now there's something to actually react to. This is what causes a genuine expression. All right, let's say Mark, in the middle of this photo shoot, finds out that me and Bob went to the movies together without him. Oh my god, Mark, is it that serious? Did you want to go that bad? Okay, next time you can go instead. I'll give you the tickets. Basically, my main focus in saying this is that a lot of times we might beat ourselves up. For example, someone who draws a lot of glamour shots, like someone who does a lot of photo shoots with their characters, might start to feel like, oh, my characters are so expressionless, so stiff. But that's because you're just doing that sort of project with them. Switch the project from a photo shoot to a movie or a reality show, and you might find that your characters will become much more expressive when you start thinking about doing those sort of projects with them. Conversely, if you do a lot of acting with your characters, like you do a lot of projects that require your characters to be more emotional and expressive, you might feel like, oh, it's so hard for me to draw these characters in just like a cool scene. It's hard for me to compose a singular image that encapsulates how cool these characters are. Just switch the project from a live action TV show to a photo shoot that is on a set that is specifically designed for that photo shoot. How would you take that picture with those characters? I hope this makes sense, and I hope it is somewhat related to expressing. Let's look at some examples. This is Juri Yoon. Like for an illustration like this, clearly a movie. These two are actresses. Definitely actresses. Most of Juri Yoon's characters are acting in movies, in TV shows, etc. These are photo shoots, right? Clearly photo shoots. They're all glamored up. They're decorated with jewelry. They're styled. They're composed for a still image. They're still expressive, but this sort of expression is more of a pose with your facial features rather than a genuine reaction to anything else. So let's also apply this to finding reference and what would make a good reference for your goal at the time. All of these are reactive expressions. You can kind of tell what this person is like thinking, or you can kind of intuit what he is reacting to. You know, like this one, like, are you sure about that? That's kind of the expression. Meanwhile, expression sheets, quote unquote expression sheets like this are not really expression sheets. These are more like photo shoot type deals where this is not an emotion. This is a glamorous pose that she's doing with her hands in her face. And so are most of these. These are very contrived, like stereotypical displays of an emotion. I mean, this isn't even an emotion. This is like, act silly. No one actually does this in real life. This would not be a good reference if you want to understand how to draw genuine expressions, but it would be good if you want to draw a character in a fun pose. You know what I mean? That's why, if I really want to study nuanced expressions, I would generally avoid studying stuff like this, where it's like clearly posed for a camera. Especially, I would look for references where they're not staring directly into the camera, you know? So I guess this kind of looks like an interview, I suppose, interviews or just any like video that is in motion where you can study how someone is like live reacting to information would be good. If you study from a photograph, you're gonna learn how to draw a photograph. You know what you know what I mean? Chapter 3 I called Interpreting Emotions. All right, whenever I want to make a video about a subject, I watch a bunch of other videos on the same subject. So I watch a lot of videos that other artists have made about expressions. And one thing that bothered me so much, throwing no shade, it's hard to teach, okay? This is just one nitpick that I have, is when people teach that, for example, if you want to draw an angry person, anger is expressed through downwards turned eyebrows and a big frown. And if you want to make that face happy, you turn that frown into a smile and you put the eyebrows up. Quite simply, it does not work like this. Everyone will express emotions in a different way. Let's bring our actors in, right? Firstly, we have Bob. Bob's personality is that he has very transparent emotions, okay? His expressions are easy to read. Why don't I just call him expressive? He's expressive. Next, we have Mark. These characters don't have canonical faces, by the way. I'm just kind of like making shit up. But their personalities won't change. That's the only thing that won't change about them is their personalities. Mark is not expressive. He is a little bit more reserved with his emotions, right? He is a reserved guy, probably a little awkward. I'm going to introduce a third character. Okay, I'm going to introduce a third character called Amanda. Amanda, I mean, trios are the ultimate friend group, in my opinion. Amanda's here because we need more emotional range. Amanda's personality is that she's nice. She is a nice girl. Nice, but not stupid. If you think that the same emotions are going to apply to these three characters in the same way, it would be absolutely insane. Insane behavior. I'm going to try to think of a scenario that's going to make all of them angry, which is actually hard because I think that a lot of things that would make Bob angry, for example, Amanda would not give a single crap about, and vice versa. So the scenario is they catch someone bullying their friend. I think that would make all of them angry, but the way that they would react to that anger is going to be very different. So for Bob, I think that anger would be very obvious. He's going to be textbook angry, downward turned eyebrows, big frown. Meanwhile, Mark has a little bit of trouble showing his emotions, right? If he's angry, it's going to be very subtle. You might not even be able to tell unless like you are good at reading Mark. Meanwhile, Amanda is nice. If she's angry, you may never find out. Amanda will continue to smile. She will smile knowing that your downfall is inevitable. If we wanted Amanda to have this sort of expression where it's like the stereotypical anger face, the situation that would make her have this expression, she would probably not be angry. The scenario in which she would have this sort of expression, she would probably be just like mildly inconvenienced, you know? She'd be like, oh, damn it. The bakery ran out of my favorite cookies. You know, that's when she would be a little bit pouty like that. But otherwise, it would be very disingenuous to draw Amanda with this sort of expression. So that was about it for this chapter. I just wanted to make it super clear that expressions are very dependent upon context and the person who is producing the expression. This is a very interesting set of references from Pinterest where it looks like a whole bunch of people are doing the same set of exercises for how they would portray these emotions. And everyone's basically has the same reaction to how they would display these emotions, but once again, I do feel like this is just a very surface level understanding of expressions and emotions. If you want to add more nuance to your drawings, we will need to dig a little deeper than this. So yeah, that concludes the main chapter, the main points that I wanted to get through. This is kind of the primer video, like I mentioned, for the more technical aspects of like executing an expression drawing, which I will talk about later. But I just felt like it was really important to cover this because one, it might be really hard to like think of ideas for expressions, and I hope I gave you plenty of ideas throughout this video. And second, is that like, if you really understand this, you will be able to make a stick figure that is more expressive than any fully rendered painting could ever be. This is why like shit posts and really crude comics get such a large response out of people. Sometimes more response than something you've spent like 15 hours on. Lots of examples I could show, but I was just thinking about Crumb. Crumb's drawings are very crude, but the expressions are so on point, and every single expression is a reaction to some information that shows how this character would react according to their personality. So with that said, let's do some self-indulgent drawing and put everything I talked about to the test with a more finished sketch, because gotta do some fan service, and also I need a thumbnail, so let's go. Alright, so let's draw everybody reacting to this comment. Bob and Mark should get married. Well, I can imagine a lot of different reactions to this. Now, don't get too excited, but what I settled on, I mean, you've seen the thumbnail, but you might not have known it was a reaction to this comment. But I thought it would be interesting if I kind of flipped my personal expectation for how these characters would behave. Because in the previous video, it was established that Bob is kind of the annoying one and Mark is the one who is being annoyed. When presented with a comment like, you guys should get married, you would think that Bob would take the opportunity to irritate Mark even more. Like, hey buddy, what do you think? We should get married, right? And so they could like fall back into the comfortable dynamic of like Mark being like, shut the fuck up. But then I thought, that's too predictable. What if they read this comment and all of a sudden Bob became like instinctively embarrassed? Like Mark is expecting him to start cracking jokes, running with it, but for some reason, Bob's reaction is not what Mark expects. And, you know, poor Amanda is just there. She's used to it. So this is really sus behavior. I'm sure that Bob will be back to normal in no time, but very strange, very strange. Anyway, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed and learned something. Stay tuned for the next one, I suppose. And if you want to learn more, I do have an entire character drawing class that I made a few years ago that I've condensed and put online. It's in the description if you want to check it out. Okay, I'll see you later.